all right, the show after showdown. I actually tried this twice before, and I came up to the camera and said, show after showdown. And then I botched. Anyway, look, let's make this very clear. The Showdown show was a safe show. That's what it was. It let NXT have a moment. It let TNA have a moment. And to be honest, they shouldn't have done it. To be honest, what should have happened was that TNA should have beaten NXT. And that would have actually given more content to NXT. That would have given it something. Honestly, this is the truth. This isn't about making TNA better than WWE. That will never happen. But if you're going to give something to the developmental that actually could help the wrestlers there, they should have got the clock cleaned. And when they got the clock cleaned, they could have rewrote the entire show for the next year. If they did another showdown, that would have made things better for every wrestler there, because they had to be, well, we just got our butts kicked by the lower company. I can't stand it. They got a chip on the shoulder, and every person there could have had a chip on their shoulder, wanting to be better, and the next time when they go up against TNA, they will whoop ass. In fact, that would also help with AAA, because if they had lost to TNA and then had another YouTube show from AAA and lost there, they would have had at least a reason to make AAA look good, because AAA has not looked good. I don't care what anybody says. AAA doesn't look good. It has been owned by WWE. It's being treated lesser than a developmental. Because you look at Wagner, believe me, I don't care about him because AAA doesn't feel important. I'm not saying this because I hate Mexicans or I hate Lucha Libre, because I actually do like Lucha Libre. I'm just telling the truth. This would have helped NXT, and they didn't go there. Then we got Bound for Glory, which looked very good. Now we got this show, where this show has decisions that make no sense. I'm saying it right now. Most of this show had no sense, but the ending of the show really had no sense. Let's open. Ricky Saints. Let's make it clear. Ricky was pissed, and he wanted to get his hands on Trick. To entice Trick, supposedly, he just offered Trick Williams a Halloween Havoc match, which makes no damn sense. None. Zero. Zero. Why would the new champ, who, yes, got screwed at Showdown because Trick walked away, why would he give Trick a damn title shot? He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't earn it. And then, worse yet, instead of Trick being like, you know what, you got a problem with me. It's not my fault you want to be like me. But you know what, I'll take the offer. That would have ended it. It's not the point if it was good or not. It would have just been good there. But what did he do after that? He literally started attacking Trick for no reason. I mean, not Trick. I'm sorry. You see, it's pissing me off. Trick attacks Ricky Saints for no reason. It made no sense for Ricky Saints, who is offering the title match there within 1 week. Offering it to him, he says no and then beats up on him like he needs to try and get that damn title match when he doesn't need it, because it's just been offered to him. And then Ava later says simply, don't calm down, because Ricky's walking around, he's pissed. He wants his hand on Trick. Trick is left, but Ava says, you can have him at Halloween Havoc, just next week at the contract signing, don't touch him. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. It makes no sense that if Trick had attacked Ricky during the night, that would make more sense. But Ricky offers his title next week at Halloween Havoc on the 25th, if I believe it is the 25th. He offers it to him. He says no, then he beats his ass and then leaves. And then he still gets the match when it makes no sense to give him a damn match. There's no build with it. So it would have made better sense that Trick said, you know what, I'm taking it. If you think that makes sense, explain it to me. Explain to me down in the comments below why Trick did not take the offer. Then later in the night, beats the shit out of the way it sounded, like he beat the shit out of a Ricky Saints. He still gets the match. And now Ricky's being told, do not attack him at the contract signing, which shouldn't even be happening, because guess what? It made no sense for Trick to say no in the first place, because he hasn't even agreed to it. This is the thing that kills me. He didn't agree to it. He said it would be on his own time. And even after he beats his ass, he says to Ricky, it's going to be on my own time. But Ava's still giving him the match when Trick says it's not at his time yet. Moving on. We get Dr. Wagner versus honestly, I know I'm skipping over what happened with Matt Cardona. I want to do this one first, because let's make this very clear. I feel that Lexis King is as developed as he's going to be, and he should just move to the main roster, or they should release him. I'm being honest here. Even though he's been there for at least a year already, or at least a year and several months, he should be released or should move up to the main branch. I mean, maybe if he goes to SmackDown, he might have something there. I doubt they put him on Raw. But to be honest, he's as developed as he's going to be. He's already polished as it is. But seeing him here, and see him working with Dr. Wagner Jr., who is the Latin American champion of AAA, where I legitimately do not care about him. Because guess what? You haven't made him feel important. You haven't made anyone from AAA feel important. None of them. You know why? This the thing. Instead of bringing these guys in from AAA to NXT, let them have several feuds, let them have several matches. You've done very sporadic matches to almost no matches. Then you've had 2 shows which have been on YouTube. And they say that AAA is going to be important to WWE. It's not important to WWE. If it was important, WWE would make sure, and this is what no one's saying, I haven't heard anyone say it. If you're going to make AAA mean something, or better yet, AAA wrestlers mean something, you should have them on a PLE. You should not use all Spanish, because they need translators. And then show them an NXT and let them be a part of a PLE. And that's the truth. AAA should have been part of a PLE, and it hasn't. It's just on YouTube. That shows you how low on the totem pole they are. Raw. Here. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, AAA. I'm not even talking about Evolve and Speed. I don't even think Speed even exists anymore. But Evolve is not even in the screen. You got Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, AAA, and somewhere all the way down there where my navel is supposed to be Evolve, which don't mean shit. And yes, I have heard about the WWE ID program. Basically, they're done with it. A lot of people have been released, and they came from the ID program. What do we really get from that? I said it, that this ID program, who knows if it's going to really be helpful. I know that Alex was praising it, but honestly, I don't even think the ID program is going to mean anything to the brass up there. And I'm not talking about the ones up there, the one up there. I'm talking about Silver Lake. I'm not talking about anything other than the ones who run everything and say, this really doesn't mean much, just get rid of it. Moving on. I'm like, seeing that Ethan Page comes out and says he's giving him a shot at his title. And I'm like, well, are you going to get the Latin American Championship? No. Wouldn't it have been better if you want to sponsor AAA that Dr. Wagner Jr. should be putting his AAA Latin American Championship up for grabs on NXT instead of the reverse where it's Ethan Page that's putting his title on the line. Now people are going to say, dude, we got to make it mean something. Well, it doesn't mean anything right now because what are we doing? I'd rather see Ethan Page deal with someone else than Dr. Wagner Jr. If he's going to do this, it should be for the AAA Latin American Championship. Just to do something to spotlight Dr. Wagner Jr., not just for him to be going after a North American Championship that I know he's not going to lose. I can understand if Wagner Jr. wins and keeps his title, but wouldn't it be better to have one AAA guy there that's supposed to defend his title there instead of someone from NXT? I'm just saying, tell me below. Blake Monroe versus Zarya. This is where it gets a little confusing. Because after the talk between Zarya and Soruka, that Soruka's trying to get a title, and it was Blake that said, you know, you're being really greedy, and Zarya is saying, dude, you got 2 titles. What about me? And then we get this match between Blake and Zarya. I'm like, at first I thought, okay, Zarya is beginning to show signs that she's getting sick and tired of the situation. But when the match is near its end, and Soruka comes out to try and help her to grab the chair that Blake brought into the ring, and then Blake pulls, no, she didn't pull it from her hair, she pulled it from her boot, a hair pick, jams it into her neck. I don't know if I'm going to put a picture there. I think maybe in this instance I will put a picture. I think I'll put 2 pictures in this video. You see Zarya getting jabbed in the neck. It's right in my face. And then she loses. And after she has been examined and evaluated by the trainer saying that her throat's messed up a little bit, but she can still wrestle, you hear Soruka say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what had happened. And she said, I understand if you're angry at me. She says, look, I'll always have you back. That's Zarya. And she says, so, because of what has happened, I went to Ava and I asked her to switch me for you. So you're going to be in the battle royal instead of me. And I'm like, okay, this better lead somewhere with Zarya. This better lead somewhere with Soruka. So we move from that, and I'm not getting to the battle royal. I will talk about Zarya in a minute, but we move to the battle royal later. Let me give you like this. What was the point of the triple threat? For the triple threat tag of Hank and Tank, of the Culling, and of Chase U when it comes to Connor and Dixon. It's not a number 1 contendership. This didn't make any sense. If all 3 of these teams say, you know what, we need to sort this out to see who's the best, that would be number 1 contender. If they went to Ava, and yes, it would have been short notice, I wouldn't have been happy about it, but at least it would have made some sense that they're having a triple threat match. Wouldn't it have been better to make this triple threat match a number 1 contenders match for whoever wins against the Hardys and the Dark State? Wouldn't it make more sense? We didn't get that. What we got was a standard triple threat tag match, which got interrupted by Out the Mud, who we have not seen in a while. And the kicker here, unless they're going to arrange this next week on Next Week NXT, where all 4 of them are going to have a match at Halloween Havoc, and whoever wins it will be number 1 contender, and that would make sense. We get Out the Mud showing up. They destroyed everyone. And I'm like, okay, this better lead to next week, Ava saying that all 4 of these teams are going to have a fatal 4-way at Halloween Havoc. Who wins will be number 1 contender for whoever wins the match between Dark State and Hardys. It better be. Because if it doesn't, what was the point of the match? It didn't make any sense. And let me say this. When it comes to Larry Reed, Leon, I think her name is Leanne Lee. No, not Leanne Lee. I don't know what I feel about Reed. Now, I know Jasmine Nix is gone. I'm not complaining about that. If she wasn't getting anywhere, they're going to get rid of her. I'm not surprised. But the question for me is this. Is she any different from Jasmine? Because, yes, she's aggressive, but wasn't Jasmine aggressive as well? What are we really getting anything different from between Jasmine and Reed? Nothing. Not really anything different. It's just they just plugged someone in who basically they had to put someone there, and she's from Evolve. So she's moved now to the main roster because they thought she's developed enough, so that's all right. But at this point, she's no better than Jasmine. So I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. It would have been better if you just kept JC James and Fallon Henley by themselves. Wouldn't it have been better? You guys tell me below, because seeing Reed there, it's like they just wanted to get rid of Jasmine and then just stuck someone in a place where it would have been better to just have them as a duo. I'm just saying. Okay. The Battle Royal. Women from Evolve, supposedly, TNA, and NXT. We got Xia Brookside. We got Ling Yang Lee. We got The Inspiration, who's doing this. Of course, they're going to do it because that's mainly their stick. And to be honest, I was hoping they wouldn't do it too much. But to be honest, I think they're going back to it to be more iconic than they are supposedly different as The Inspiration. I think that's what they're going to do from now on. Guys, tell me below what you think about Cass and Jess. Because as it stands, the way they've been acting on TNA Impact TV and here, I just feel like they're going back to the old style of iconic, wanting to make it all about the posing, all about, how can I say this? They weren't very great characters. I'm not hating on them. They just weren't great characters. But they were loved. So that's great. But as women who are now mothers and have supposedly developed more, you expect more from them. Yes, they can still do the iconic pose, but expect more personality from them. And it seems like they'd rather slip back into the iconic personality and not really do much work. And I'm kind of like, you guys promised before you left TNA when it was Impact, before you went and got pregnant, that you would change up your style. They didn't. Then when they came back, they looked like they changed up their style, but then they seemed to be falling right back into that style. And to be honest, that just feels rehashed. And I thought they'd be better than that. That's just me. Also, we had Victoria Crawford there. We didn't see Tessa Blanchard there. I thought we would, but we didn't. And I am considering making a video on Tessa Blanchard and a boob job. You guys tell me below what you think if I should. Because I am thinking about doing a video of Tessa. Maybe I'll do it right after this video and just briefly talk about In the Gum Goodness. But we got a lot of women that was there. But let's make this clear. And I'm putting her image right here. That's Tatum Paxley. Now I'm taking it away. That is Tatum. And I'm like, okay, I like Tatum. She wasn't a bad character. They tried to develop her. But currently, the person that they have been developing more than Tatum has been Izzy Dane of the Culling, not Tatum Paxley of the Culling. Now, don't get me wrong. People like her. I like her. But what's more important, to develop one that you care about or to develop one that you have not really been developing lately? And I know Gray, who's from Evolve, was getting really heavily cheered. And I'm sure some people would say, well, we should have let her go. But no. You had multiple people you could have chosen over Tatum. It could have been Izzy. You could have had Lash. You could have Miss Jackson, which is Mara Sage, which wouldn't have been great, but it would have been at least something where you got a former NXT star who's now a TNA star who's in the spot against JC James. I'm not saying that would have been the best one, but it could have been something. You could have used, well, not Xia, but I don't think she would have made it. You could have used Miss Jada Parker, which also would have made some sense. Now, both of them got eliminated, and both of them were having an attitude towards each other, which that means their feud is not over, which I understand. But one of them having the spot to go against JC James actually would have made some sense. But you chose Tatum. And I'm like, why? You chose her. Why her? I think that's the title I got for the video. Why her? It makes no sense to give it to Tatum, even though I like Tatum. and she's had some development, but she hasn't had more development than Izzy Dane has had development, or Lash Legend, or Jada Parker. Wouldn't it make more sense to put one of them in that spot? That would have developed more of their story. Parker and Lash, they have a rivalry going together. One of them could have been better. Izzy Dane, that would have been better. And I'm sure people would say, well, guess what? Maybe they're doing that to develop Izzy. Yeah, you could be doing that. But to be honest, at this point, I don't see the culling breaking up. I don't see them just ejecting Izzy or ejecting Tatum. Because the way they showed Izzy, she's really pissed off. And she's going to hide it until if Tatum wins at Halloween Havoc. If she wins, then Tatum's going to get her head taken off. That would be the only reason why you did it. That Tatum becomes NXT champ, which really doesn't make much sense. Even though you got Lyra Valkyria, who's showing up on NXT TV and now wanting to be by Tatum's side. The thing I'm getting here is, if you're going to use Tatum to try and get Izzy over while Lyra is there, it better make some sense when it's all over that guess who goes up. Either Tatum goes to the main roster or Izzy Dane goes to the main roster. One of those two has to be the next to go to the main roster if you're willing to let Lyra be there and let one of them possibly gain the title. Because at this time, I don't think it is. But it's just me. And I hope you enjoyed this NXT, which really seemed why. Please give me a comment below. I am going to film the Tessa Blanchard video right now. Hopefully, when I release it tomorrow, you'll like it. Peace.